Hey, this is Forrest. How you doing today? Hopefully well. So today I'm going to do a short video. Originally I tried to record this and I went way long, but I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. I've been having some questions lately. Some people have been asking me, should I buy or should I lease trailers? And I think when they say buy, most of the people who have asked me about this, they're talking about buying by putting money down and financing the trailer. You could pay cash for a trailer as well, but especially if you're in the car hauling business or even flatbeds, anything decent size where you can make some real money with it, it's going to cost you. If you're going to buy a new one, you're probably going to pay $20 to $21,000 and north of that. If you're going to buy a used one, a decent used and all beat up and brakes are bad and the bearings are about shot in it and it doesn't track straight and lots of other things, to get something like that, you're probably spending $15,000, $16,000 because of the amount of the new ones has gone way up, especially since 2020. So one way to look at it is this. If you're in business, businesses have pass-through costs, right? So if you go and you finance one and you have a pass-through cost of whatever the payment is, but the interest rates on these finances are pretty high. And not only that, they're typically wanting 20% down or more, depending on your credit, maybe even higher than that. And so typically if you're getting into that, you could be talking $5,000, $6,000 down on a $20,000, $21,000 trailer or more. It could be going higher than that. So if you're going to buy one, that's going to be a thing. Now, if you're going to pay cash for one, then you're going to have to pay $15,000, $16,000 cash out of your pocket, and that's going to put a big stranglehold on your operational capital. Most people, when they start companies, they don't start off with, they're not Rockefellers, right? So they don't start with this huge bundle of cash. And so if you go out there and you take $15,000 plus and you invest it into a trailer, yeah, you don't have a payment, you don't have a lease payment, you don't have a buying payment. The problem is that you don't have any extra money either, right? So now you've got all this money tied up in the trailer. If your truck breaks down, if you got to pay a bill, if you damage a vehicle, there's so many more things that you might need that money for that you're better off having it, doing something else with it. Maybe even investing it into something, something that makes money for yourself, right? You might invest in a piece of equipment that goes along with the truck and trailer. You might invest it in hiring a dispatcher for yourself. Those are great to have. This video of another time. And so, there's a lot of things there that you can think about as far as, buying versus, leasing stuff. But now leasing becomes a pass-through cost. Kind of like if you buy it and you had a payment. The difference is if you buy it and have a payment, the payment is pass-through cost. And let's say your payment is $750 a month, right? $700 a month. Whereas you can usually lease one for like $500 or $600. Like the 3-car haulers that we lease, and we have 4 cars as well and some 5s. Like the 3-car hauler, something real light if you're trying to do non-CDL, something real light, 5,100 pounds or 5,200 pounds or so. You can put 3 cars on there and make a living doing it. Something like that's going to lease for like $500 a month. And you're only going to have about a $1,500 down payment, or not down payment, sorry, $1,500 deposit on it, right? So that means if you don't need it anymore, you've ordered a new one, whatever, and you just don't need the trailer, you can return it in good shape and we'll give you the money back, right? And you keep the rest of that, instead of having $5,000 or $6,000 tied up, you keep that in your bank for your operational capital. Now, here's another thing. If you buy one, they typically come with a warranty about, that long. And so if the warranty's that long and you're out there driving around and something happens, it's on you to fix it. Whereas like most places that lease, like the trailers that we lease, we're going to take care of that for you. The only thing you are required to do, because we don't have any oil bath bearings, but the only thing you're required to do is you need to keep greasing the bearings, and we have a set schedule of how many miles that you're going to go, and you grease the bearings. You text us because we keep track of it. We text us. If we haven't heard from you in a length of time that we figure you've counted those miles, we actually text you and say, hey, it's time to grease the bearings. So by doing that, we handle the brakes and we handle the tires. And if the winch goes bad, we handle that. If the battery to the winch goes bad, we handle that. Those are all things that's normally going to be in when you buy one. If something happens, like, say the ramps are on there and the chain breaks and the ramp falls off or something, as long as it wasn't you that did it, we're going to cover that kind of thing for you. Get you a new ramp, get you a new chain, and put them on there. Now, also bulbs around it. If a bulb goes out, we'll either send it to you, you can pop it in yourself, or you can stop by the office and we'll put it in. But those are some of the advantages, because that's going to happen. That's going to be like that for as long as you're leasing the trailer. Whereas when you buy a trailer, like I said, and it's over, they'll put a new bulb in it. Over, they'll put bearings in it. Over, tires, they're definitely on you. They won't even talk about the tires. And tires, can get expensive. So, I mean, the reality is, I'm not pushing leasing over buying, but I am saying that if you have the option of buying and making payments on it, you're going to tie up $5,000 or $6,000 down. If you buy it for cash, you can tie up $15,000, $16,000 or more. But if you're leasing, you're tying up about $1,500 for a deposit, and then you also don't have any maintenance to worry about on the thing other than you have to physically put the grease into the. And we give you the grease, by the way, and the grease gun to do it. So all you have to do is every once in a while, every so many miles, do it. We're going to remind you from time to time, hey, don't forget to grease those bearings. You don't be going down 995 and have your back tire pass you on the highway. That's very, very, very bad. It's very overrated how bad it is. Not really. It's really terrible. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on it. And again, people say, well, you own the trailers. You're leasing out the trailers. That's because the trucking company and the towing company are very successful. And we can go out there and buy those trailers without tying up. Because when I first started, I leased a trailer. And that's the way to go. And then once we built it up, we had more than one truck and all this kind of stuff. Then, of course, we started buying trailers because then the operational capital out there wasn't as important. But you guys that are just starting out, lease, lease, lease. I always tell people, lease and only grease, right? Because that's basically the saying we have with our trailers, lease and only grease. Anyhow, that's my ideas on leasing versus buying, either way, whether you finance it or pay cash. It's just keeps your money in the bank. If you lease it, it keeps your money in the bank where you can use it for the things that you need to use it for scaling your business and whatnot. Then when you get on solid ground, you got your 2 or 3 trucks, 4 trucks working for you, and you've got some capital there to invest in something. Then that's when you look at it as using that as investment capital. You go out and buy yourself a trailer and then lease that trailer out or whatever you're going to do to one of your drivers, or your lease-ons or something like that. Anyway, this is Far signing off. If you have any questions, you can leave them below and I'll answer them, just like I was talking about the lease thing. Somebody came and sent me an email and said, hey, what about leasing versus buying? And now they've got the answer. Have a good day, and thank you for watching once again.